5 plus 2 divided by 5,000. Today's daily devotion from Pastor Greg Laurie.
Our scripture reading today is from John chapter 6, verse 11. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and distributed them to the people. Afterward, he did the same with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted.
Crowds followed Jesus wherever he went. People couldn't get enough of his healing miracles. When he crossed the Sea of Galilee and headed for a remote hillside for some alone time, 5,000 men, along with an untold number of women and children, joined him. But only one of them packed food for the journey. A young boy carried 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. The hilly location was miles and miles away from any place that sold food, and even if such a place could be found, the disciples couldn't pick up the tab for a party of 5,000 plus. So, one of them, Andrew, did the only thing he could think of. He brought the boy with the loaves and fish to Jesus. Notice the first thing Jesus did after he accepted the boy's food. He gave thanks. No matter how meager the resources might have seemed, they were a gift from God, and he treated them like one. Then he broke off piece after piece of the 5 loaves and 2 fish and handed them to his disciples to distribute. And he didn't stop until 5,000 men, along with the women and children, had been fed. What little the boy had to offer was more than enough to impact thousands of people. Jesus helped his followers see that it's not how much you have that matters, but rather who's distributing it. What seems inadequate to us may be just enough to accomplish something incredible. After witnessing Jesus' miracle, the crowd got overly excited and tried to make him their king. They imagined him using his powers against the Roman Empire. But Jesus had a much greater role to fulfill. He quickly slipped away into the hills for some much-needed alone time. He had met the people's needs, but he had no interest in meeting their expectations. That night, when his disciples couldn't find him, they got in their boat and rowed back across the Sea of Galilee without him. They didn't get far. The Sea of Galilee was known for its sudden, violent storms. It sits 600 feet below sea level. When the sun sets and the air cools, the wind rushes in from the west and churns the waves. The disciples were headed west toward Capernaum, so they were heading directly into the storm. After several hours of rowing, they had made it only halfway across. The physical conditions that held back the disciples had no effect on Jesus. He walked across the water toward his disciples. In the darkness, they couldn't see that their salvation was coming. They thought the figure approaching them across the water was a ghost, until Jesus said, "Don't be afraid, I am here." Jesus' followers invited him into their boat and into their struggles, and they immediately and miraculously arrived at their destination. Jesus' way may seem scary at times, but when we invite him into our struggles, he will make sure we will get where we need to be.